Hello and welcome to Schoolvisor's session today. For all the parents who are watching this video, are your children hooked onto devices now more than ever before? When was the last time that your child picked up a book instead of the Kindle to read? In terms of digital exposure, do you think your kids are getting too much too soon? Are these worries common discussion topics in your household? If yes, I'd recommend you stay with us for the next 30 minutes while we try and understand if it is important for our kids to read physical books, write, and practice kinesthetic learning in the age of digital classrooms. And how do parents and schools need to support the children in doing so? My name is Pooja Kedia, and I'm from Schoolvisor. Today, I am joined by Mrs. Amita Saxena. Mrs. Saxena is a doctorate in botany and a gold medalist in her education degrees. She has a professional career of 25 years. Her teaching experience at all levels of school provides her the concrete understanding of the entire school. She has worked with some of the prestigious schools in the national capital as Birla Vidya Niketan, Delhi Public School Dwarka, Delhi Public School Shishantlo, Gurugram. Mrs. Saxena is a CBSE awardee, a Delhi State Award, and is a recipient of several other awards such as the Brain Feed School Excellence Award, Guru Donat Award, International School Award, and Inspiring Educator Award. She is passionate environmentalist who takes up the cause with zeal and groom. Is her student in the school to achieve their goals of being good human beings first and successful individuals later. Mrs. Saxena is currently the principal at Rotary Public School. A very warm welcome to you, and I appreciate you taking the time out today to talk to us. Thank you so much. I am also today joined by Mrs. Shivani Sahani. Mrs. Sahani comes with over 20 years of experience. She has the experience of leading 2 startup schools and has worked in conjunction with idea generators, curriculum developers, and promoters. And that has given her an edge in her leadership to achieve the school's objective aligned with their vision, mission, and core value. Her life purpose is to contribute to the society in a meaningful and constructive way through education. In her free time, she pens down her thoughts and experiences in the form of quotes, short poets, and blogs. Being an assiduous worker, she has received various awards and accolades for her professional work. And to name a few, she's got the Inspiring Educator of National Capital Region Award, the District Performance Excellence Award, and the recognition of Leading Integration of International Learning in Schools Award. Mrs. Sahani is currently the principal at GD Goenka Public School. A very warm welcome to you as well, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Pooja.
We also have with us Mrs. Anita Paul. Ms. Anita's career spans over 29 years, and she has held teaching and administrative positions at Welham Girls School, Dehradun, Woodstock International School, Mussoorie, GIMS Bali, Indus World School, Gurugram, GD Goenka World School, again Gurugram, and APJ School in Delhi. Mrs. Paul is passionate about her work at Vidya Gyan School, which is a Shiv Nadar Foundation's. It's a philanthropy initiative, which is a rural leadership academy that nurtures high achievers from economically backward sections. Along with the certificate courses in economics and English literature, Mrs. Paul has kept herself updated by doing courses from the Stanford University, the Harvard University of British Columbia, University of British Columbia, International Business Management Institute in Berlin, to name a few. She enjoys reading, being updated about latest educational practices, and engaging with children of all ages. She's currently the head of school at Billabong International School. A very warm welcome to you as well. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you so much.
Amita ji, I'd like to start my first question with you. So some of the key advantages that everybody world around knows about reading are things like it helps to strengthen the brain, it helps to build knowledge, build vocabulary, increases empathy, it obviously is a great stress buster. All these would also come with reading online. So help us understand, given that reading either a physical book or a book online has similar impacts, why the fuss about reading a physical book? Is it overrated?
So
I'm asking you a question with so many books behind you, so I'm sure you're a fond reader yourself.
Yeah, so I thought this would be a good backdrop for the discussion. So having said that, yes, I was a voracious reader myself. was. I'm so stuck with work nowadays, so the reading has taken a second slot now. Having said that, I always find some time, 20 minutes, 15 minutes to read something. And that's what my girls do. I have two daughters, they also do the same. I try to encourage my students in every school that I've been there to read. And, reading a physical book is absolutely important. What I feel, technology may have given us the facility to put into our hands books from all over the world, and at the flick of fingers and click of your button. But the feel and the smell of the pages, the idea of turning pages, the feel and the excitement rushing into you when you look at the cover of a book peeping out of a bookstore, or you just look at a book and you want to read it because it has a good cover, a story behind it. So all of that is so physical, and it's so charming, it's so attractive. I do feel that having a book in your hand, definitely it means much more than having a book on your ebook.
All right. So what I hear you say is that yes, benefits of reading do come from reading an ebook as well. However, the excitement of reading is unparalleled when you are holding a physical book in your hand.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Shivani ji, my next question is for you. I'll give my example. I can't remember the last time I wrote a letter, but I have sent about a dozen emails since morning today. Given that handwriting is becoming increasingly obsolete, please help us understand, does a child really need to stress about writing firstly? And if so, what is it that you as educators do to try and encourage doing that online? Question in a bit. Anita ji, let me just come to you now. Please help our parents understand what exactly is kinesthetic learning, and does it have a place in today's environment while classes are all virtual?
They certainly do. I mean, I definitely advocate, the use of technology in the classroom. It's very, very important. It's the need of the hour. We'll have to continue with this kind of system for, I don't know, maybe another 2-3 years till we are very sure that we can go full-fledged face-to-face. But saying that, I would want to tell the parents that even though we've gone digital, there is still scope for doing things, at home. And as you said, it's very, very important for a child to have that space to learn, to nurture, to love, and to take care of its belongings. And reading creates that it gives that ownership to the child. Because when the child owns a book in a physical form, and he reads that book, it becomes his own belonging. But when he's doing it on a Kindle or maybe on a social platform, that's just for the minutes that he's going to be reading there, and then once it's done, it's gone. He'll get into the next book or maybe the next page on his tab. But with a book, it's always there. We used to turn those pages in the corner, or we used to have those lovely bookmarks. Not only that, but saying that the child would keep that book safely, neatly, in order, and he'll always have a space. Like we just had the first panelist talking to you, and she has this beautiful arrangement of books behind her. It can only happen if you have a physical, text in your hand, that hardbound book into your hand, and you nurture that for life. So it not only is a love for the book, but it also trains a lot of things. So saying what you're asking me is, how would parents understand this particular kinesthetic learning process? So a child or anyone, even us humans, we like to feel certain things, and that's what goes through our nerves to our brains, and gives us a certain kind of an assimilation there. And then we can connect things. We learn things by touching, by feeling. Some things you cannot do if you're in a kitchen. You cannot do just reading about a recipe on a YouTube or something. You have to see it actually happening in front of you. You have to experience the chopping and the churning of the stuff. You have to experience the heat, whether it's medium heat or high heat, and then you have to taste and see. The recipe may look very nice on a video, but until and unless you have the real.
How do you manage to do these things in a virtual environment? Because obviously the child is sitting at home, the teacher is in her.
Yeah. So now we are going through a hybrid learning process, as you, all of the whole world is seeing that. So parents have become a very important stakeholders with us. They were only, their roles earlier were just to come for a PTM or just to come pick up a uniform or their sets of books from the school, or maybe come and deposit the fees, or maybe one and odd case of an annual day or something like that. But now today they are virtually every day with us in their classrooms. So when they become our stakeholders and when they become collaborators with us, they also take on a role of a mentor. And if they feel that certain things can be shown to them in a real life skill environment, then why not? If somebody is teaching them germination, teach them. You can have a little pot in the house, and then you sow a seed of a kidney bean, and then you can see the marvelous germination happening in front of you. You don't have to be in a lab in a school right now. You can do it at home. If we are trying to tell them that you mix two colors and this happens, and the different color happens, the child can do that. They've got paints and all at home. They can try doing that. But that's all the touch and the feel, and it's very important. The parents definitely are playing an important role. They've actually taken the role of the teacher in the house, and the teacher has actually taken the role of a parent, because when we are talking to our children on camera, we are trying to be like the magicians, trying to keep them engrossed and entertained in the classroom, and the rest part of it has been taken over by the parent, and it's a very lovely experience. I have parents who call me back and say, "Ma'am, thank you for giving us this platform. We are also living our childhood," which somehow they have also lived out.
Great.
And this,
Thank you. And I hear what you're saying, and it makes complete sense. It is actually true of people that I know. Parents have had a very, very pivotal role in the last 6-7 months, especially parents of young ones, where they've kind of had to stand by them, not just to deal with the different environment that the child is learning in, but also step in when it comes to things like kinesthetic learning, like some experiments, which I think are vital for a child's development and for their understanding. So thank you so much for all the parents who are watching this video. There is a big role that you are playing in your child's development. So please do kind of stand with the school and the educators till hopefully, the phase starts, and we're all looking forward to that when physical classes are back on track. Shivani ji, we lost your video and your audio. Can you just say something so we know you're back?
Yes, I'm back. I'm extremely sorry for network connectivity.
No, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to repeat my question. So my question to you was that in an age where we see handwriting becoming increasingly obsolete, we don't see the need to write as much as we did when we were younger. Help me understand, what is the big fuss about a child being able to write, firstly? And secondly, if you think, yes, that is important, how are teachers supporting a child learning how to write, especially in today's age when the environment is such that the teacher is not with the child?
So Pooja, yes, this is a very pertinent question. Of course, with the advances and the increasing technology, dependence on the technology, it is very evident that the students have a lot of, the children have a lot of fuss on writing. They really want to keep typing. All the time, being there on the gadgets, playing games and all of these things. However, we can't really, because we have enough reasons why we should not turn our back to the old pen paper system. We must inculcate this in the students, and teachers are definitely also, being in the remote time working these days, finding it a little difficult for making the students write. So it is, there are certain steps that the students, that the teachers have been taking. So to name a few of the steps, the teachers are relying.
Sorry, Shivani ji, your audio suddenly gone really faint.
Observed is that students have started relying on the notes that are being sent by the teachers. So initially what we did, considering that this being a pandemic situation, lockdown situation, let the teachers support the students. So teachers started sending the notes. Now what happens, the students have started developing that habit. So now the teachers have started modeling. So what teachers can do is that they can write the notes on a piece of paper or a notebook, and those can be screen shared. So hence, because students actually role model what they see. So once the teacher is writing the notes in a written form, then it becomes easier for students also to do that. Then she can do, what she can do is that she can split her chapter into small bites, you know, a 10 to 15 minutes lesson that she can take live, and then can give a writing task to the students right there during the class itself, so that the students get that ample time and write in there itself. And then a peer feedback, the teacher's feedback, a few of the writings can be discussed, and the key points can be given by the teacher, so that the students develop on it further. Another point that can be followed is a direct direction, giving the direction. So what a teacher can do is that she can plan the entire week's lessons. She can give the links to the students, that what all links of the videos that the students need to view, and based on those videos they watch, they can be given certain tasks to write. For this, rubrics can also be created. Based on the rubrics, the child would get to know what exactly is the teacher's expectations from the child in the writing task, and what all parameters are there. So following those rubrics and the skill checklist, the child would be in a position to write the tasks, share the writings with the teachers, and teachers can give feedbacks in various forms, in audio form, in video form, also in the comments form. So there are different tools through which teachers can give their feedbacks. So these are a
Great. So
few
what you're
ways
basically
how
saying is,
the teachers can inculcate this habit of writing remotely in the students.
right. So what you're basically saying is you're using technology to your advantage and making sure you use whatever you can in terms of tools and videos that are available and content that is available to ensure that that learning and that focus on writing does not stop. Thank you.
Absolutely. I can share a few tools also, 2-3 tools that are very handy for the teachers that are free of cost. So if you want me,
Great.
I can share a few.
Yeah, in fact, if you could send them across to me, I'll put them as a link on this video. So, you know, our parents will
Sure,
absolutely have access.
I'll do that.
Perfect. Amitaji, I'd like to come to you. So we spoke briefly about kinesthetic learning. While I understand that it is very, very critical, especially given the little ones, because they need to be able to see, touch, and feel to be able to understand. Also, it's a great engagement tool. So with children who have little attention span, being able to keep their hands busy and their eyes busy, you're able to kind of catch on to their attention for longer. Help me understand, is the value of kinesthetic learning as much in senior and middle school as well?
Yeah, I would say yes. Yes, I completely am with the form of learning. When we started with the differentiated strategies of learning, and we came to know about the different ways that can be incorporated in the regular classrooms, where we used to learn how students can put their learning abilities to use, whether it is an audio learner or a spatial learner or a kinesthetic learner. In all the cases, what we found was most learners actually were kinesthetic learners. So whether it was a teacher who was teaching or it is a learner who is receiving, in both cases, movement, like for example, even now I'm moving my hands. So small little things, very very small and typical things. For example, some children have the habit of writing in the air, and some have the habit of making flow charts, or then looking at them. Some have the habit of walking, pacing around while they are learning or reading something, trying to recollect, memorize something. Then there are others who may even go to the extent of maybe making it a little more fun, going into a little step mode or a dance mode. So those are, and the other things that normally teachers in the senior wing, where you said that middle wing. The young learners, of course, even a little rhyme, a jig, a little dance during rhyme recitation is good for learning. The older learners in the middle group, and even till the class 9 and 10 level, definitely a touch of practical moving or doing will definitely help in the learning and understanding. You can take, for example, the practical learning that we have in the science labs, which was going on for such a long time. And these days, we have also introduced, kinesthetic learning into the classrooms. So whether it is a project or it is something that has been told already to the students to get into groups and do something, even that little, movement of putting them into a different setup and making them sit in groups and peers and then talking and discussing, even that is, helpful. And it is kind of kinesthetic.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much for that. So in your view, it is important at every stage in a learner's life. And why just in a learner's life in school? I think
Even
it kind
in
of goes
adults, I
beyond
would
that.
say even in
Absolutely, like you
adults.
mentioned.
Yes.
Right. All right. Anita ji, I'd like to come to you. You know, we briefly touched upon, you know, when I'd asked you your first question, you spoke about how important physical books are. Now, help us understand, yes, that is possibly the right thing to do in an ideal world, but we're not in an ideal world today. It's less than ideal. We're all stuck at home. There is a pandemic, and we have restrictions in terms of what we do. How are schools, and you know, help us with examples of your school or schools that you know in the neighborhood, specifically focusing on reading physical books? Is your advice to children to say lay your hands on anything, be it a magazine, be it a newspaper, and read, but read physical books? Or are you telling them it doesn't matter as of now, read good content, be it online or offline?
Yeah, so Pooja, what we have done in our school, you know, being a Cambridge school, we had the liberty to play around with tools, you know. And the best tool that we found was that which India lacks using is research oriented learning. So we have started using that tool particularly from the little class, the as little as giving them, a project kind of a stuff that they can, create a flower, or they can even create something with any raw materials that is at home available, any kind of, and children come up with innovative ideas. They are brilliant in that form. Even my little kindergarten kids are very smart that way. So what we've done is that we tell them, you do this and you do a presentation in front of us. So, and that's our form of learning. We don't stress too much on textual learning right now. We've planned out our lessons in such a manner that there's more of activity involved, where the child gets lots of opportunity to use their hands, and there's a smile on their face when they are presenting it to us. Parents initially were a little skeptical about it because they thought it would be an extra burden on them, but slowly they realized it was something that the children were enjoying, and they were learning the concepts that we were trying to teach them, whether it was math, whether it was English. So reading, listening, and speaking skills we are using in all the languages. So we've got French, and we've got English and Hindi. So we use our learning skills. So there they have to read out to us. So it is something which is very novel. So I have children reading Peter Pan. I have children reading Huckleberry Finn. I have children reading, J.K. Rowling's um, stories, Rudyard Kipling stories. So when that's happening and they're enacting it also, they're learning it also, and we are assessing them all also on that only. So that's the tool that we're using. So not only research, we've got PPT as another form where they will put their whatever they're reading, they put there as slides. So it's their own work. So we teach them that they shouldn't be copying things, and plagiarism is taken care of, academic honesty is taken care of. Then we have another tool that we do is quizzing in the class. So we have a lot of quizzing sessions happening. So
Right.
so we've devised our learning through tools rather than through text. So when we do through
Okay.
tools, the children get a lot of opportunity not to exercise their power of voicing their particular learnings, but also to write them down. Because research, we've actually told them they have to write, and we are making them write. We're not making them type. We've told them to write.
Right.
So every class is a different. For a little one, it may be just few lines. For maybe grade 3 and 4, it's about a paragraph. For grade 4 upwards, it will be around 100 words. Grade 5, 200 words. So you carry on increasing them. You try to keep teaching them. So as and when they will go to move forward to the next classes, they're prepared with their writing skills. So writing is very important where languages are concerned. And Cambridge has this very particular beautiful program with Cambridge English. So we use that and we implement that
Okay.
in our school. So our parents are also enjoying it. So reading is very, very important there. Listening is very important. So we play them a lot of audios and they listen. We show them a lot of videos which would be related to anything which is grammar or phonetics
Sure.
and things like that. And then children would and then we tell them to draw whatever they've understood to draw. Drawing is a skill where if the child is drawing, it can relate. So pictures they can relate. And we've learned this in our cognitive learning also, and we've learned it with our differential learning also, that some children learn by drawing and by writing, and some children like Amita ma'am said that they write in the air and they make their charts in the air and all that. So all this is embedded there when you're putting it in a structured form. So yes,
Great.
it is
So,
yeah. Yes. So
What
for
I hear
us,
you say essentially is that, yes, reading is important and you love
yes,
the love for physical books, but
yes,
in the environment that you have been given, there are ways and means in which you are getting your
yes,
child to read,
yes,
be it research, be it work that needs to be done in terms of working in groups, and that involves reading instructions. There are
yes,
other ways in which you're incorporating reading. And
yes,
right now, most of that is happening online, but that's fine as long as that's good content. Like you
yes,
mentioned, some of the classics that you are encouraging your children to read, which is
right.
going kind of getting into their brain rather than just picking up anything that is available. Thank you so
Exactly.
much. Shivani, I'm going to come back to you and talk a little bit more about writing. So you said yes, there is the need to stress on writing, and I understand that to some extent. However, help me understand with the way the world is progressing. I see, and I'm looking at kids around me, that the kind of time that they spend online, I see that probably very soon, what is going to play a major role in their development is going to be probably the words per minute that they can type more than what they can write. Is that your belief as well, or have we kind of blown this out of proportion going too far?
No, I think till the time educators like us are there, we are certainly going to focus on the writing skills of the students because it has many advantages, many benefits. If you would have noticed, right in the preschooling stage, the students are given a crayon to trace shapes or lines and figures, right? So the idea is to give them a crayon or a pencil to trace is to help in the fine motor development of the children. So right from the early ages, we educators are helping the students to develop their fine motor skills, that is the muscles in the hands and the fingers. So this is extremely important. Moreover, when the students are writing, what happens is that there is a strong connect that gets established between the brain and the muscles. So it also works on the development of the language skills. A lot of studies have actually shown this. So these are a few reasons which are very important. Then there is a connect that gets built in. Also, if you would recall, during our times, our teachers used to lay a lot of emphasis on repeat writing. So whenever we used to make mistakes, our teachers used to tell us to correct that and write multiple times, So that helps in the retention. The memory retention is also increased. If we look at the education system, we cannot overrule that. Our education system is still based on pen papers, assessments. So of course, the students' writing speed and articulation and the skills of legible writing is essentially required. So all of these things have to be taken into consideration.
Perfect.
Lastly,
So
I would say that there is a connect, an emotional connect that gets built between a sender and a receiver. When a sender sends a handwritten note to the recipient, so these are very important things that are essentially required, and I suppose that writing would not overrule typing.
all right, great.
At
Thank
least
you
till
so
the
much for that.
students age,
Sorry, I missed that last
till
bit.
we are in till the students are studying. Of course, while we are working in the office environment, it comes to
Things
typing
change.
more than writing.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. So what I hear you say is fine motor skills, which makes complete sense. That movement and that building of muscles happens at an early learning stage for a child, and a lot of that is thanks to writing skills. There's brain development and there's retention that happens. We're basically a part of a world where seeing how to spell something, to when we need to find a place on a map, to finding that recipe for that perfect meal, everything is done online. In a world like that, how do parents keep the love for physical books, writing, and kinesthetic learning alive? Not really by showing a video, but by actually doing. So, what is your advice to parents? Really quickly, we've got another 3 minutes to go. So, very quick piece of advice that you would like to give the parents to help
So,
them through this process.
so
Yes, Shivani, I'll start with you.
according to my observation, children do what they see. So it is very
Right.
important for parents to role model that, keep a lot of reading material around, have a particular time, at least during the day, when they are switching off all the gadgets and everything, and then they get into reading. And of course, the students, their children would also pick this habit. A
Lovely.
lot
So,
of
lead
reading,
by
a lot of
example.
Absolutely.
Right. So lead by example is your advice. Amita ji,
Absolutely.
what would your advice be?
I think each parent should let the child have a book as a tool for a healthy lifestyle. And each child, if he or she reads before going to bed, a little by little, I think that is going to create a habit.
Perfect. Thank you. So build a healthy habit, build that reading habit. They shouldn't want to go to bed without reading a little bit. And hopefully it will become a habit that they will retain throughout their life. Thank you so much for that. Anita ji, your words of wisdom.
All right. So I think so. Everybody has said what is actually very meaningful, but I have a different perspective. I would suggest that parents buy books, gift them to their children, read some, read out with them like you have narratives to do that, and also tell them that that the writers who have become so well known and they are known for their work is because they have written what was in their hearts. Not because of what somebody told them. It may be part of their writing, but it was actually what was in their heart. So give them that knowledge of how writers became such big loved people around the world, and movies were made on their writings. So I think so that little sharing with the children will give them that perspective of reading more books.
Lovely.
Yeah,
I love
that's
your
my
advice. So next time you're out there in a shop buying something for your child, do consider going to a bookstore and getting an age appropriate book. And
Yeah.
obviously build that fantasy around book writing and book reading, and also encourage your children to start, when they're of that age, to start actually writing their own stories. That also helps in a big way.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolutely fabulous discussion, and it's been very, very nice to try and get everyone's perspectives. I read somewhere, and this is a quote by Groucho Marx, which I found very, very nice, which I'm going to share with everybody who's listening to this video. He said, "I find television very educating. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book." So I thought that was very relevant for our conversation today. So for all the children who might be sitting with their moms or dads and watching this video, please remember, there is more treasure in books than in all the pirate loot on Treasure Land. So make sure you keep the love for reading a physical book alive always. On that note, I would like to thank you once again. Thank you so much, Amita ji. Thank you, Anita ji. And thank you, Shivani ji, for joining our conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having us
Thanks
here.
everyone.
Bye, School Bye, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You
Thank
also keep safe.